everybody, welcome back from BFF to Backstabber. That is how I would sound if I was a backstabber. What my roommates did to me in the Disney college program. I didn't even know there was a Disney college. You can go to Disney college. Are your professors the Little Mermaid? Is Ariel your professor? Answer me now.
Here's a little bit more of what my roommates did to me in depth in the Disney college program. So we're gonna start with the fact that I FaceTimed my mom and they had a huge problem with it. So I would FaceTime my mom and my brother and whoever was in my family just because I missed them. And one day I wanted to show them the outside of the pool, which just for reference looked like this.
Okay, very nice.
From my balcony.
Okay.
I was in the west side. And I was out there for a good maybe 20 minutes because we can see the fireworks going off from Epcot to the left and Magic Kingdom to the right, or vice versa, I don't remember. And I was just talking with them, just showing them the pool. I wasn't talking about anything bad at all. We were just talking about normal life. And for me, that was the first time that I actually moved away from home and lived away from home, and I was a good 2-hour plane ride away. So of course I missed my family, and of course I was going to call them all the time. And I also wanted to keep them updated on everything. So while I was doing this, one of my roommates was home, the other two were at work, and she knew that I was going outside and she knew that I was on the phone. And I'm only knowing this because of what I read in their group chat. But she was texting the other girls in their little group chat, and she was saying stuff like this girl's constantly calling her mom, like, what is her issue? She's just out there talking about us, I know it. Like, how much does she miss her mom? Like, seriously, grow up. I was 20 years old at the time. Excuse me for missing my family. Okay. And honestly, they had no right to make fun of me for calling my parents because they called their parents as well. But since they didn't like me anyway, I guess it was just such a big deal that I called my mom. And I wasn't out there talking about them. I was out there showing her the pool. And then my brother came on the phone and I was showing them the pool. And then they were looking at the fireworks and they were like, oh, I bet you're having such a great time. And at the time I was, because I had no idea what was going on behind my back. Now, going back to the Christmas light scenario, we were all sitting in the living room one night watching a movie, and we had all discussed how the living room looked so bare and we needed some decorations, some lights, and I told them that I had the day off the next day and I would be more than happy to go to Target and try to figure something out, and they were like, yeah, sure. So I did exactly that. The next day I went to Target and I found these $5 a box Christmas lights, and I got 5 of them to equal $25, which at the time was a lot of money because we're all broke. So I bought them and I texted them, you know, they were cheap, they were only $5 a box, and I hung them up. And I also sent them pictures in our roommate group chat, and they loved the image and they were all like, oh my gosh, they look so good, like finally our living room looks homey. And I was like, yeah, it's nice and vibey in here, you know what I mean? And so then the next day I went out, I think I went to the park for the night by myself, and when I came home at like maybe 11:30, all of the lights were in the garbage. And I had texted in the group chat and said, like,
I beg your finest pardon?
And they said, yeah, we didn't like the vibe that it was giving off, and the lights that were hanging near the door kept getting stuck in the door, so we just decided to throw them out.
I'm sorry, excusez-moi? You don't throw them out? Maybe she could put it in her room or something. Why are you throwing them out? That's so mean and very grinchy of you, I must say. Like, bah humbug. Everything I need to know about these people is that you bought Christmas lights for them, and instead of giving them back to you, they threw them out.
And I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, seriously? And in the group chat, I was like, yeah, no, it's no problem. Like, if you didn't like them, you should have just told me. And I said, you guys didn't have to throw them out because I saved the boxes. I can just go return them. And they were like,
that's
oh,
another
well, you said
solution.
They were cheap, so we figured you didn't want your money back anyway. And I was like, $25 altogether is a lot of money. Each box was not a lot of money, but altogether it was. And then they started getting petty and they were like, geez, sorry, next time we'll just say it. And then come to find out in their little group chat, they texted right afterwards and they were like, I can't believe she's being so petty over stupid lights. And then for some reason, they also thought I was rich. So they were like, oh, it's not like she can't afford them. This was probably just because I had nice things like a MacBook and AirPods and like normal people stuff, which, I mean, some people might think that that's rich, but not really. It's not like I have $1 million and I'm just frivolously spending stuff. I work hard for my money and I bought those things with my hard-earned money. But anyway, not the point. So yeah, they were talking about that in the group chat, complaining about the fact that I was mad at them for throwing out my personal property without telling me.
Period.
Then the 3 of them decided to go to the store without me and buy LED lights, the strip lights, and they hung them underneath the counter, and they looked disgusting because they changed from like blue to green to red, and it was totally like just high school. It looked like a high school bedroom. in our kitchen. I'm gonna insert a picture of what our living room looked like with the Christmas lights. This is just a picture of my salad.
Okay,
you
cute,
can see the lights in
vibey.
the background, and they were all hung up around the ceiling, around the door.
Yes, love the bouquet.
And then this is what I came home to with the LED lights in the kitchen. And I had been talking to my mom this whole time about this, and she was telling me to just kind of upfront, like, call them out on the things that they're doing. And me as a person, that's just not me. But when I tell you they were avoiding me on purpose, I have a screenshot of what I sent to my mom one night. I said I was out in the living room literally all night watching Jurassic Park on the TV, and they all stayed in their rooms. The second I turn the TV off and go to my room at midnight, all of a sudden they're out there making food. I just don't get it. I had asked, and I blocked her name out, my roommate, if she wanted to go with me to watch the sunset, and she said that she didn't feel good and didn't want to go out. But then later that night she went to her friend's apartment, all the way on the other side in East. So just like little things like that just really started to piss me off, and then I started to notice a trend in things. But if you want to hear any more stories, let me know.
The fact that they all had like a separate group chat where they were just talking about you is just so dumb. It's so dumb. Isn't Disney World supposed to be the happiest place on earth? I found a girl passed out, left alone outside a bar. When she woke up, she was wondering why the Disney college group left her. Whoa. I didn't even know there was a Disney college. Research. You mean your research? Disney college program, internship opportunity. Okay, wow. Discover the magic within. Looking for ways to expand your resume while building a network of connections and friendships to last a lifetime. Well, not as advertised, is it? They were jealous. You are beautiful and kind. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. That's really all it is.
Why don't they like me?
It's because you're pretty. It's because you're pretty. Yes, there is such a thing as pretty privilege, but like, you also got people hating you for no reason. If you've ever had a glow up, I'm really curious to know if people started treating you differently. Because I had a bit of a glow up. I had a little bit of a glow up, just both in life and, you know, in general. I feel like I took care of myself a lot more, started working out, and people really started to treat me differently, and not in a good way. I'd take the LED lights down and throw them away. When asked why, I'd just say, oh, sorry, I didn't feel like they fit the vibe.
It's not really my vibe. Sorry.
I am 33 and I still call my mom multiple times a day. Yeah, I second that. Oh, well, I'm not 33 anymore, but getting up there. But wait, we have a part 2. We need more. We need more. Just like this comment says, we need more. I need the tea, bestie. I'm just surprised that all of this happened to you like at a Disney college program. How could you be so big in such a wonderful place?
Okay, this next story is one of my favorite Mean Girl stories because this is the moment that I knew they had a group chat about me. So before I show you any screenshots, here's a little bit of a story time behind the story.
How did you get the screenshots?
I was at work one day at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and my roommate, let's just call her roommate B. I had 3 roommates. So in my last video, the one that went to her friend's apartment across the way, we'll call her roommate A, and then this story is going to be about roommate B, and then the one that I shared my section of the dorm with, we're going to call her roommate C. So anyway, I was at work one night at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it was raining out. Not too much, but it had rained in the morning, so there were puddles of water everywhere, and it was very wet outside. And roommate B and I were texting all day. We were going to meet up at Epcot after I got out of work. I brought my clothes with me to work, so
Sounds
I could meet her there,
amazing.
so I didn't have to go all the way back to the dorm and then all the way back to the park. And she basically, I think, was there like maybe an hour before I actually got there, so she was already walking around going on rides and stuff. And I had given her updates as I was leaving work, as I was getting in my car, as I was passing the exits. I'm like, I'm coming, I'm here. And she was like, oh, no worries, you're fine. This was before I had any issues with my roommates, so we were actually really nice to each other. And she had said that she was going to wait for me by the golf ball. So right when you walk in, she was going to wait for me. And I had told her, I'm walking in now, I'm looking around, I don't see you. So this is the text that I sent to her. I'm walking to the park entrance now. And she said, I was headed out. I looked for you, but I didn't see you. And quite honestly, you know, I thought it was a little rude, but I mean, it was raining and I understood, and I was like, oh, okay. I still went in the park and I went on rides anyway because I went all the way there. But then I get this text in our actual roommate group chat that I'm in, and roommate B goes, dude, I totally just made eye contact with Jamie on the way out, but I told her I didn't see her. And I let it sit there for a while, and then I went, wow, how nice.
Oh.
And then in my head I'm going, they definitely have a group chat, and she sent that in the wrong group chat. Like, there's no way she's just saying that. Like, there's no way she would just send that in the group chat. And then she came up quick with a response and goes, oops, sorry, I felt bad ditching you, but I'm soaking wet. And then roommate A goes, Epcot really does flood in the rain. I left work soaked. And she said, yeah, I didn't know how to tell you I was leaving. LOL, my socks are literally dripping water. Like, honestly, just say, hey, Jamie, it's soaking wet. Let's just go hang back at our apartment. It's not like we live together. In that moment, I just was like so mad, and I texted my mom and I said, they definitely have a group chat about me. Like, that was not supposed to be sent to the correct group chat. Like, that was such a mistake. And I was like, she effed up, and then she thought of a response on the fly like that. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's one of my favorite stories of the most drama I've ever had with them, because in that moment I was like, I knew it. Like, everything went downhill from there, and it was just like so traumatic.
Jeez Louise. God, I do not miss being in my early 20s, let me tell you. I'm literally at the point in my life where if you are not, like, we can all vent to our friends about things that are bothering us, maybe people we don't like. If people do us wrong, we don't like them, we need to talk about people, etc. But if you have a group chat that is like entirely dedicated to like talking crap about someone, we are not friends. Okay? Yeah. Yucky, yucky, yucky. I would have said, whoops, wrong group chat, so they knew I knew. That would have been good. That would have been good. I live vicariously through these responses. I mean, it's easy to say that, but like if you're living with someone, a group of people, confrontation is not really something that you want. I was in a situation where I had a friend that lived in the apartment below me, and she lived with like all girls, and the drama got so bad. One of the girls left broken glass outside of my friend's room, so that like when she would open the door, she could like step on broken glass. Like, buddy, girls can be mean.
Let's play, was she a friend or an enemy? Round 1, was she a friend or an enemy when I wasn't in the room and somebody said, Paige is such a good singer? And she said, yeah, but did you know that she took voice lessons for like 8 years?
Enemy.
Okay. Got him. Also, I didn't take voice lessons for 8 years. I took them for 3. Biatch. And also, okay, as all singers do. Next, round 2. Was she a friend or an enemy when one of the guys in our friend group said, Paige, this new Instagram post is so pretty. And she said, wow, Paige, yeah, you look so good. Wait, you have to tell me what app you use to edit your butt to look so good. Ah! Enemy. Round 3. Was she a friend or an enemy when she came home from a night out, hanging out with my biggest crush ever at the time, and said, Paige, I am so sorry, but I accidentally let it slip that you have a little crush on him. I was like, oh, well, if it was an accident, you know. Then a year ago, I see the guy, and we're laughing about how I had a crush on him, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe she told you that, but we're laughing because it's so far in the past. And he says, oh, she didn't say you have a crush on me. She made it sound like you're a stalker-obsessed freak. Was she a friend or an enemy?
Oh God, it sounds like you guys were besties. BFF, a. You know, you're a millennial when. How do you get rid of people like this in your life? Like how? Do you ever just get to a point where you like only want people in your life that like you feel good around? I feel like life's a little short to be around people like this, you know? But it's like, do you have a friend breakup? Or do we just slowly ghost? You know, like the slow exit, right? We don't want the confrontation, but like maybe we're just busy. Kind of depends if you're dealing with like a narcissist, you know what I'm saying? Because if we're dealing with like someone who has narcissistic tendencies, 1, they're never going to apologize and take responsibility for how they treated you. 2, they're probably going to turn it around on you and make themselves the victim. And 3, like, do you really want that kind of confrontation? So maybe the slow exit, the phase out.
Story time about how my best friend slept with my boyfriend. This was like with my first love, my first boyfriend ever. Me and this girl were like best friends. We would always call each other sisters because we looked really similar. I grew up in a predominantly white community, and we were like the 2 brown girls. We had long black hair. We're both Asians. I got a boyfriend. This boy was also in her friend group, so we were very familiar with each other. So fast forward, I asked my boyfriend at the time if we could go on a break because I was second guessing our relationship. Don't remember the exact reason on why we broke up. While we were on this break, I was sad and devastated, obviously, because it was like my first boyfriend, my first heartbreak, and she wanted to cheer me up. So she was like, hey, why don't we just go to a party just to try to get your mind off of things? I said, okay, yeah, let's just have a little girls' night. We'll have like so much fun. She came over. We were picking out our outfit for this party. I own this cute black bodycon dress. So then she was like, hey, can I borrow this dress to wear to this party tomorrow? I said, yeah, of course. She came to pick me up. She wore that black dress and then we went to this party. I tried my best to have fun, but I was still like obviously sad over this breakup. She really encouraged me to like talk to other guys, flirt with other guys, and even hook up with other guys. But I was just kind of like, no, I honestly don't want to do that. Like, I'm too sad right now. A couple months passed by. I decided to get back together with my boyfriend, and things were great for a couple of months. And then I started hearing rumors around the school that my best friend and my boyfriend. First, I thought it was just rumors. I confronted them multiple times, especially with her. She said, no, I would never do that to you. Like,
I would have never done this to you.
You're literally like my best friend. You're my sister. You're like my blood. I would never, ever do something like that to you. Like, that is... I was like, okay, it's just a rumor then. Time goes on, I hear more of this rumor. Like, this rumor just keeps repeating itself, okay? Because my boyfriend was on the football team. At this point, I started hearing from the football team. Apparently he was bragging about it. I confronted them again. Is this true? Like, you guys need to tell me now. And they just kept lying. My best friend was a great friend. She never betrayed me, not even once. She was always there for me whenever I needed her. My boyfriend, we didn't have any trust issues. They literally haven't done anything to me or given me a reason not to trust them. So I trusted them.
This is literally like the worst thing that you can do as a friend. Like, I'm convinced, you know, there's little petty things, obviously talking behind your back and like low-key bullying that are pretty up there, but like going behind your back and getting with someone that they dated without like previously consulting you about it. Like, it's one thing if it's like, yeah, girl, go ahead. You know, they come to you first and like you're totally cool with it. It's still weird. Like, it is still weird no matter how much like permission you give. It's weird, but at least they came to you first. But then going behind your back, either cheating or like hooking up with that guy. It's like, I'm sorry, did you want to do this all along? Was this your plan all along?
My math teacher, he pulled me aside and he was like, girl, I heard the rumor and I
Not
really
the
think
math
they did hook
teacher.
up while you guys were broken up. And I'm over here like, no, they wouldn't do that to me.
No, you cannot be serious. Even the math teacher knew? Buddy. Ain't no way the math teacher knew this before you did. The math teacher is like the least cool of all the teachers. At least my math teachers were. They hated me. Oh God. I passed that class just to spite them. But the fact that the math teacher was in the know before you, girl.
So I was over at my other friend's house who lived right next to my best friend who's been accused of like sleeping with my boyfriend. All of us thought it was a rumor until one of my best friends literally sat me down and she was like, you know, I actually kind of believe this rumor. So I was like, oh, I'll just walk over to her house, knock on her door, and be like, I know everything, even though I literally don't know anything. And that's what I
Smart.
did. I came over to her house, knocked on her door, and I told her like, hey, my boyfriend told me everything. He told me that you guys hooked up and you need to tell me everything right now or I'm going to believe everything that he's telling me. And he's blaming everything on you. Basically plotting them against each other. And she said, yes, I hooked up with him when you guys were separated. I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. They had promised each other that this was gonna stay between them and it was never gonna happen again. After that, I confronted my boyfriend at the time, like, hey, I know you slept with my best friend when we were on a break. You're a liar. And then I found out some more details from him. I asked him like, when did this happen? And he told me when it happened, the night of the party. I was like, wait a minute, how could she be hooking up with him
When she was
with
telling
me that
you to
night?
hook up
I
with
asked him like,
other guys.
around what time? And it was right before she came to pick me up for that one party that we went to. And remember what she wore when she came to pick me up from that party? It was my black dress. So my best friend wore my black dress, mine, to go hook up with my boyfriend.
She might as well have just like skinned you and worn that. Fan behavior.
It just gives me like weird vibes. Like, what were you trying to do? Were you trying to be me? Granted, this was a long time ago and I'm completely healed and over the situation. The friendship is obviously over. Like, there's no way that a friendship could come back from that. But the most embarrassing part is like, I stopped being friends with her and then I took him back. Like, what was I thinking? Like, that's the most embarrassing part for me.
Girl, okay, no, we can't just be like being okay with the guys doing this and not the friends. Keep that same energy. It's the guy that, like, honestly, they both messed up. Like, that was your boyfriend.
We were on a break!
It's all right. You were young and unawares. So we'll forgive you. I'm glad he's still an ex. Hopefully it stays that way, bestie. Don't make me come over you. Don't make me come at you. I was best friends with a real life Regina George. My best friend hated. Why? Like, why are we friends with people that don't like us?
Have you ever had a best friend that turned out to be the worst person to ever exist? I was best friends with a real life Regina George, except this girl could have literally bullied Regina George into a coma. She was extremely spoiled, and she grew up on Mean Girls, Bratz, Gossip Girl, like 2000s coming of age teen dramas where there's always like a stereotypical mean girl. She thought that that's how you were supposed to act in real life, like that kind of behavior was normal. We were a trio of friends. It was me, her, and one other girl. She would make us link arms whenever we walked through the halls, or
oh, God.
Formation like they do in Mean Girls. When we were in middle school, she would constantly call me fat and make fun of how much food I would eat. For my 11th birthday, she got me hamburger earrings. I saw them in the store and it's just reminded me because I know Maria loves her food. I wore Keds to school one time and she told me that they were lesbian shoes. I wore my hair in 2 braids one time and she was like, "That looks like a lesbian hairdo. Are you lesbian?" She would always call me lesbian because I was a tomboy and because she was quoting that scene in Mean Girls where Regina George called Janice a lesbian. She accused me of stealing from her, and she said, "Just because I'm skinny and you're fat doesn't give you the right to steal my things to try to make yourself look better." She told me that her cooler older sister told her to stop being friends with me because I was the ugliest girl that she had ever seen. She had no respect or regard for her parents whatsoever. In 8th grade, she told her parents that she was going to unalive herself if they didn't buy her hair extensions. In 9th grade, I started dating this really popular football guy, so I started getting invited to parties and meeting better people. The first party I ever went to was a beach party, and the girls who wear flip-flops to the mall with dirty-ass toes in the wintertime. She got a group of those girls to try to jump me in front of everybody at the party because she didn't want me going to the same parties that she was at. 11th grade, her parents bought her a used BMW, and then she made a post on Instagram that said, "Couldn't even take my driver's test because my stupid parents got me illegally tinted windows on my car. But happy birthday to me, 16. She made her parents take back the BMW and trade it for a white Mercedes, which was a lot more expensive, but she said if they didn't do it, then she was going to unalive herself. At my friend's 18th birthday party, every guy that I tried to talk to, she would go out of her way to run up to them while I was saying hi, and she'd be like, "Oh my god, Rylan! Oh my god, I haven't seen you in so long! It's so good to see you!" And I mean, every guy that I tried to talk to, even if it was just like, "Hi, hello, how are you?" A friend guy.
There's no such thing as an original experience, eh? Because like, why does all of this resonate? Why does this remind me of so much that happened to me? But like, you kind of just accepted that was the way that it was. You clocked it and you're like, this is kind of mean. I don't know if I would do this to somebody else. And we just let it happen because we're people pleasers, but we're recovering, right? In recovery, the disease to please is an affliction that overtakes your entire life. But we are recovering, besties. We are. Honestly, it took like TikTok and people like talking about these kind of friends for me to realize that like this has happened more often than not to me in like my female friendships. Isn't that kind of sad? That's kind of sad.
10th grade math, she sat behind me and she would always do this thing where she would pretend to be dumb so that guys would help her. It was to the point where it wasn't even like passable. Like, what's 25 divided by 5? I don't get it. I was the smartest in the math class, but it's not that impressive because it was the special kids math class. And she got really jealous because the teacher made me tutor the dumber people in the class. The teacher would always ask me if I could help her with her work because she was the farthest behind in the class. She was also notorious for attempting to steal people's boyfriends, like all the time. There was this one guy in high school who threw this huge house party and he named it the Thoughty Awards. He had these like actual medals made and then announced Thought of the Year at the party. And there was like 250 people at the party.
Ew.
So this mean girl won the award of Side Chick of the Year, and she goes up and she accepts it and she's like, thank you guys, Side Chick of the Year, like you'd be lucky. Because she slept with so many girls' boyfriends and she's tried to steal so many girls' boyfriends.
Yeah, when you said that she would probably bully Regina George, you weren't kidding. I wonder how these people are doing in life now. You know what? I bet you anything they're Bridezillas and they're Karens. That's the messed up thing. It's like these people that are so mean. They're so mean. They always get married really young and then they get divorced. And then I laugh. Honestly, it's always about like guys, isn't it, for these girls? It's like the male validation and the male attention. We're too young at that point to maybe understand that male validation doesn't mean much. Have you seen that scene in American Pie? That scene? Yeah. Being validated by people who would do that to a pie doesn't mean much. Not all men would do that to a pie, but they've all thought about it. Depends on the pie, am I right? Just for the record, a girl who prioritizes dudes over you, that's not your friend. Subscribe!